Okay, precious TLR people and precious Sondergaard family. Continuing. All right, now let's look at the places in the scriptures where there is true ecclesia. One of the most important things in the scriptures is that there are touches in the New Testament that turn into a whole world of teaching in the early church writings. For example, do not be involved in civilian affairs. That's one little picture. Jesus is the captain, he's the general, and we are under his command by the guidance of the Holy Spirit. And we are also called to teach people to obey all the things that Jesus taught. Now, if you leave out things that Jesus taught, you are not his disciple. You are not a truth speaker. You're not his sent one, and you're doing a wicked work. So, if Jesus is the general, the captain, and you get emotionally involved in civilian affairs, meaning government, military service, a lot of hotshot, heavy-duty business, there are many ways that you can get wrapped up in worldly things, and your heart can begin to become stuck on the worldly stuff. You got to keep backing off, because the primary work is what? What is the primary work? The primary work is raising up new apostles, raising up new little sent ones, raising up new truth speakers, and planting brand new, beautiful groups of friends meetings. That is the word in Hebrew, havurah. Havurot is plural. One havurah, many havurot. Making new gatherings, new communion group gatherings. Making new communion group gatherings. That is our business. That is what maintains the faith. That's what keeps people's souls maintained. And that was abandoned by Constantine and the fat kings of Europe. Well, let's teach about Christ, and let's show this, and let's do this. And it is more important to teach people how to maintain righteousness than it is to teach people how to jump up and down and say, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Jesus is my friend. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Which is what I call the rah-rah Christianity that doesn't have wisdom in it. Whoops. And so, Acts 14, verse 21 to 23, after preaching. Now, if you read chapter 13, 14, and 15, clearly these people are circulating in many, many places. And it says they went back through the churches. Now, they have done miracles. Many people have rejected them. Some people have accepted them. And there's all this stuff going on. There's all this stuff going on. So they have formed communion groups. They have formed communion groups. And now they're going back through the communion groups. Where are those groups? Those groups are in homes. They have found a man of peace, a family of peace, and they've cared about that man, that family. I was trained this by my mother, who was dean of foreign students at a seminary, and she taught me what she learned from foreign missionaries. You don't go in there and show off your American atmosphere. You actually find a person that is of those people. You hide in their house, and those people invite their friends in, and they become anointed, and they go out and they begin new communion groups themselves. You have to be extremely cautious of people following along with you for emotional excitement and etc., etc. And this is one of the weaknesses. This is one of the demonic presences in, little Torben's life. He is, an enthusiastic, excited party guy that loves to get other people together in a party and start a parade and do fun things. And that's okay. As it says in Philippians, some people are presenting the information in a right way, other people are presenting information in a wrong way, but at least the information of Christ is being presented. Oh well, some people are blowing it. Okay, so now picture this. After preaching, they go back through the churches. Okay, come on, boys and girls. This could have taken months and months. They went back through the churches, meaning the gatherings of friends in homes that are obsessed with doing the communion meal, because that's the new Holy of Holies. In a private meeting behind locked doors. Okay? Cleansing consciences first. Admitting their faults. Talking about what they're worried. Okay, I'm really worried about this one thing. Or I yelled at my sister on the telephone. Or I really have a problem in this one area. You guys, I know there must be some kind of demon in my atmosphere because I keep having that problem. So many other things I'm completely free from. Do you know that demons can actually show off? They can put on a show heading out, and then because you're not putting a person into a safe maintenance communion atmosphere, that person can invite that demon back in a few days later or a few weeks or months later, and that demon can come in even worse because now you believe in Jesus and now you're doing things that are anti-Christ. And this is where it gets really dangerous. Because if you're just doing, miracles and salvations, baptism in the Holy Spirit, baptism in the Holy Spirit, and you're not training people what Jesus taught about living a life of honesty and maintaining a pure heart, that's more difficult. Okay, here's one of my statements. You guys can do all this other stuff, but I am training people. It's more difficult to train people to be honest about their evils than it is to train them how to raise the dead. It is so easy to train somebody how to raise the dead because you're using the power of God. But I'm telling you, even the dark side can end up being a part of producing healings and miracles, signs, and wonders. They want people to gravitate towards people that are not presenting the entire Jesus program. So I'm warning you. I want you to be deeply concerned that nobody in TLR is teaching about private meetings where the men uncover their heads, where we've just come into the Holy of Holies. We've just come into the mercy seat of God ourselves. We are the mercy seat. We've locked the doors. There's no unbaptized people in this room. There's no learners, there's no visitors. Only those who are willing to be tortured and die for Jesus today are in this room. Now, yay, we get to come. The early disciples came together for the purpose of cleaning their consciences. They were excited about getting their consciences clean. How cool is that? That's why they were excited to meet together in a private meeting, in a closed meeting behind closed doors. And that's why your ancient church lineages, like the Russian Orthodox and the Greek Orthodox and stuff like that, they ask you not to take communion with them unless you agree to all of the precepts in their, denominational structure. And many of those churches have preserved precepts of Christ that a lot of the other churches have just dumped off the boat. Oh, they just, oh, well, we don't do that anymore. Oh, well, God wouldn't want you to do that. That's religious. I mean, that is all teaching of demons right there. God wouldn't want you to do that. That's just demons. Most of the churches that I was raised in were run by the nicey nice, mommy voice. Oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And even the outreaches. If people do not know how to be candid, hi, I'm a male human being. The woman has an erectile tissue on the inside. She has a big stiffy on the inside. I have a big stiffy on the outside. That's our private parts. But it's important to talk about the unseen things from time to time. So my big stiffy on the outside, oh my gosh, when it is lubricated and stimulated, it is so comforting. It is such a feeling of ecstasy. It is such a feeling of satisfaction. And it's hard to avoid wanting that. So that's why in Song of Songs it says to all of us, please do not awaken the arousal, the desire, the passion, the fleshly desire, the love, the passionate love for one another. Do not awaken that until it's time. Okay, so when you come together for a communion, it's like, okay, what's God asking you to do? Where is he asking you to go? Maybe there's a person who's suffering there. First of all, the first question is outreach. Outreach. Where are we supposed to go? Where are we supposed to go? Treasure hunt list. Where should we go? Where should we go? That's the first question before communion. And then, okay, you people who are walking single like Jesus, is your body going crazy? Just put your hand up and we'll pray for you. There's all kinds of common, dark spirits moving around. Are you having fantasies or obsessions with a person like in the sexual department? Put your hand up. That's just spirits trying to come in. All these spirits are going to constantly try to come in. If you're not like a good mommy daddy who can be completely chill about the weaknesses of human beings, you're going to have a bunch of people that are 13th stepping. Study 13th stepping. That means, when people go into 12-step meeting and they get clean and they push away their addiction, all of a sudden the next thing is, there's other people around me that have pushed away their addiction. Who do I get to be married to? Who do I get to enjoy? And the whole concept of the new covenant is, hey kids, can you be single like Jesus for a whole lifetime? How do you think Philip's 4 virgin daughters who prophesied got that way? They were being coached by their parents, and they were being coached in pure, close groups of friends that were private meetings where people cleaned their hearts together and where somebody had the guts to talk about and be an example of their own problems. Look at 2 Corinthians 12. Paul is saying, hi, I celebrate my weaknesses. Now that means all of his weaknesses. And it's God's propensity, it's God's glory to hide stuff. And it's the glory of kingly souls and scholarly souls to reach their search things, find them out, and then share them with the family. And I'm telling you, I am a servant to Torben. I am a servant to him. I have gone to him repetitively. And I've said to him, God loves fabric. God cares about coverings. When Jesus was crucified, the veil of the temple was torn. And then the men removed the prayer shawls from their heads. You were not allowed to go into prayer as a Jew without your head covered as a gesture of humility. Now, since the veil is torn, we all walk straight into the Holy of Holies, and the Holy of Holies is us. The mercy seat is us. The most holy place is us when we're gathered together. But no visitors, closed meeting. And we're going to have the communion once we know that we're cleansed, just like going into the temple. What do the priests have to do? They have to dunk in a giant bathtub. They have to dunk in a giant bathtub. They have to take off their street clothes, dunk in a giant bathtub with the ashes of the red heifer on it, which is a representation of the crucifixion of Jesus. And then they have to put on special clothes, clothes of righteousness, and then they can go into the temple and do their stuff. So as we're heading into communion, what are we doing? We are first cleansing our consciences in a fun way so that the kids can say, okay, Mama, Papa, something weird happened to me. You need to pray for me. I don't know what happened. I guess it was a bad spirit or something, but it's a bad story. And so since the kids hear the adults talk, the kids hear the daddies saying, okay, I was so hungry for the feel good that I had to drive home and pick up your mom and go off and enjoy her somewhere. Yippee! When the children understand the weaknesses and the longings. I didn't just eat 3 cookies, I ate the whole box of cookies and I feel embarrassed. Somebody pray for me. Gluttony. Pray for me against gluttony. And covetousness. People sitting around looking at this car and wanting that thing and wanting that kind of house and wanting this kind of thing and wanting that kind of thing. Covetousness is a dark, dark sin. It's listed all over the place. It's amazing. Covetousness is very dangerous. And that's a thing that nobody can see on the outside. You have to admit that you have been coveting a certain thing. So, Soñi Sondergaard, precious Hannah, your children are going to grow up in a friend group, communion group Christianity, and it is more difficult to build that atmosphere than any of the grandeur that has been poured out on Daddy Torben. I mean, God has been putting his favor on so many people in the Miracles on the Street ministries that have now coming up on YouTube and communications. But I'm telling you, it is an incomplete gospel. Antichrist against Jesus. Pushing away things that he taught. This is bad. Be deeply concerned. And Torben, his responsibility is not spouting off about all those other bad, hotshot pastors. Now that he's a hotshot leader, he's complaining about the other hotshot leaders. He's become an adversary to the brethren. Instead, he's supposed to be sitting himself in little friendship gatherings and helping people discern the spirits that are still around them, some of which will not go away. He actually needs to be nurturing home communion gatherings and asking with the people, show us, God, what person right here in our neighborhood should be the tender shepherd of our souls. And we don't want to have conflicts. If there's a conflict, we can take that person and tell them to go have a walk with God and come back, and whatever they come up with, we'll follow that. Behavioral modification. Behavioral modifications. When you modify your habits and behaviors, it starves out the demons. And I have some behavioral modification suggestions and even commands from Jesus for Torben and for all the TLR people. I have some instructions, but ain't nobody want to hear them instructions except for my buddy Lamont. Go Lamont. And I'm alone. I need a team to do the stuff I've got going. The most important thing is helping people learn how to build disciple-based businesses so that then their communion group can be sending people out, but bringing people back and working in the fields, working in the lunch truck, working in the manufacturing, working in the sewing collective. And I've got like 14 different projects, a sailing school, all kinds of things that touch on some of the joys in comfort life, but also teaching people how to research other lands, other cultures, and be prepared to go to them. I'm like a university of information. I went to Russia when I was 16. I toured Europe on trains during the punk scene. No God at all. I lived in San Francisco for 4 years. I lived in New York for 4 years. I grew up with relatives in New Orleans. I traveled all the whole old highways in all the little towns all over America and Canada for years and years and years and years. I lived in San Diego. I lived in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Missoula, Montana. I have lived in so many different places. Before God crashed in on me, he set me up to be a person who I love people. I love God now, and I love people. And I like to meet people in beautiful places. So let's talk. 863-262-8181. All we need to do is put together all the pieces of the gospel, train people in them, and then let them go. We might never see them again, but they will know how to create maintenance environments of closed private meetings where people stay pure together, and where their little communion group is sending a little cluster of people out into the world every single day in order to start new clusters of Havurah. Havurah, the definition of Havurah is the group of people that meets once a year for a Passover Seder to admit their faults and send a little lamb to the temple to be killed. And all the children know that this little lamb that they've been nurturing for a whole year is going to die. And the blood of that lamb is going to cover the sins of their whole little family group of 2, 3, 4 families. And the grandfathers on the Passover Seder, they read the sin lists. Then that's shifted into every time we meet for communion, we admit our faults. And as we admit our faults, we are cleansed, as it's written in 1 John 1, 9 and 10. Our evils are cleansed in the closed communion gathering. We take the communion, and then we sit in the ecstasy of the Holy Spirit, and we ask questions about outreach. Where do you want to send us for outreach? Show us where there's a suffering person. Where do we need to go? Just like the man in Macedonia. That's just one little picture. And what did Paul and Barnabas go through to get to the man in Macedonia? The man in Macedonia is the Philippian jailer. What did they go through? God actually put them through the skin on their backs being beaten and stripped off and thrown into a stinky jail in order to get to the person that God was concerned about. On the way to blessing people, you are going to have horrible things happen. Acts 14, verse 21 to 23. On the way to completeness and being in the kingdom of God, the friend of God, you are going to have horrible things come and happen to you. That's your lot. That's what it says in Acts 14, verse 21 to 23. Meditate on that. And then go to the end of Acts chapter 14, where when you get in your public gathering where there's visitors, they're amazed at the prophetic words that are coming out because it's touching their hearts as well. And people admitting their faults and telling their testimonies. You're like, wow, God really does live among you. Woohoo!